welcome to the channel. Welcome back, Overwatch League predictions. Things are a little different now. I got a face cam sitting up here. I would have also display in the background, but haven't quite figured that part out yet. In Streamlabs, it keeps coming up black, so we will figure that out very soon. But just like the other videos, we're going to be doing the same thing. Predictions for this week of OWL action. We're now in week number 4. So we're getting down to it. Some teams only have 2 games. Most have 3 or 4, or no, only a couple have 4. Most of them have 2, and then there's some 3s in there as well. So we have a few less games this week. We have 3 tomorrow and Friday, and then it goes back to 4 the other 2 days. And then for week number 5, it's 4 games per day, but there's only 2 days. So there will be some teams after this week. Most of the teams will be done. So we got a pretty good picture of the stage playoffs at this point. Of course, a lot could still change. New York is the only team that has actually secured themselves a spot, even though Vancouver at 4-0 is essentially a lock as well. It's just not quite yet certain. So, I hope you guys like this new format. Let me know what you think. Like I said, hopefully very, very soon it will also have a display in the background where it's actually me on my monitor looking at the matches and schedule and potentially standings. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. First matchup for today is going to be Atlanta Reign and Los Angeles Gladiators. So we got 3-1 Reign. They're sitting in 3rd right now. They're in very good shape to make the stage playoffs. Gladiators are 1-4. They would need to win both of their matches convincingly to have a chance to make the stage playoffs. So they have had a rough go of it so far. And map-wise, I'm going to run through them really quick. They're on Busan, Kings Row, Temple of Anubis, Rialto. So I definitely like Atlanta here. I think they're playing better as a team. I think that they like this meta a lot more. I like this map pool a lot more for their team in general. And Gladiators have not been getting off to good starts on control maps. Busan is probably their worst one. Ilios would be a lot better for them, and then Nepal would be kind of in the middle. So I like Atlanta there. Gladiators have looked pretty solid on hybrids, so I think they'll probably take Numbani. But after that, I think Atlanta takes this one 3-1. I don't have any faith in the Gladiators at this moment. Their communication looks bad. Their shot calling looks not great at all. They have disconnect. They're essentially 3 different teams. I guess that'd be the X factor for me. Just Gladiators coordination and calling, because they've had times this year where they seem like they don't know what they're doing. They seem like they are very unsure of themselves. Roar has looked like a feeder the last couple matches. He's had very, very poor performances. Without Bishu in there, it doesn't look like there's any translating going on. So it seems like the support line's doing their own thing, the front line's doing their own thing, Void is doing his own thing, and then Hydration just kind of doesn't know what to do either. So I like Atlanta a lot more in this matchup. I think they're playing very well. And even though it's kind of make or break time for Gladiators, I think they will break facing a superior team. Second match, it's the other LA team, the Valiant, who are even in worse shape than the Gladiators. They're 0-5. They're already eliminated from this stage playoffs. And if they don't start winning, they're gonna start thinking about getting knocked out of the overall playoffs at this rate. And it doesn't get much easier for them. They're playing the Philadelphia Fusion. So Fusion, I mean, what are they gonna do? They're inconsistent, but they've still been pretty good, especially all things considered. They're at 3-2. Haven't had the hardest schedule, but I still think they've definitely been playing better than the Valiant. The Valiant have played a lot of tough teams, but still, it's at the end of the day they're 0-5, and you can only make so many excuses. They're going to be playing on Nepal, Numbani, Temple of Anubis, and then Route 66. So Valiant don't even get Rialto, a map that they've performed pretty well on the last couple times. And once again, I don't have any confidence in picking the Valiant. I'm going to go with Philly in this matchup. Philly does play down to the level of their competition. Valiant are number 20 right now, so maybe they'll come out and be like, eh. but I think they still kind of. I think they're still probably thinking of Valiant as a team that was extremely good last year. So they'll be pretty properly motivated. Plus, Phillies they're at 3-2. If they have a good week, if they're in really good shape, if they go 2-0, they could go 1-1 and probably still make it. But so they're going to be motivated to get into those stage playoffs. So I like Philly in this one. And for Valiant, looking at a map that they might take, I think it's probably just going to be Route 66. I think Philly will probably take the first three, and then maybe take their foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe 2-0 with a tie on Demple. I could see that, but otherwise, I like Philly in this one. X factor for me is Valiant. What are they going to do with their support line? Is it going to are they going to switch back to Custa? Is it still going to be Cookie? Whichever one of it is, are they gonna play better? That's the big thing for me. Like they both performed pretty badly in my opinion. I've seen multiple analysts in OWL call them ground Lucios because they just don't wall ride. They're looking like console Lucios out there, just kind of sticking with their team and lobbing shots in. So if they can get a bit more playmaking out of their support line, then maybe they'll be able to kind of punish Philly in situations, especially Sato, because Sato has not played well. Fraggy should be playing. I don't know why he's not. Um, uh, but yeah, I like Philly in this one, 3-1 or 2-1. And the last matchup for today: Toronto Defiant and Chengdu Hunters. So the Hunters have lost a couple in a row. Defiant coming off a nice win against Boston to put them to 3-2. I think Toronto's going to win this one pretty easily. As we know, Chengdu they don't run goats. That's not their thing. They want to be the counter meta team, and honestly, I said before I respect it. It's fun to watch. It's cool that they're just kind of giving the middle finger, but it's not gonna result in wins for them until we'll see what happens in stage two because the meta should shift. But for now, I think Toronto will just play goats. Their goats looked probably its best that it's had last week against Boston. Ivy had a very, very good game on Zarya. I'd been a little critical of him because of just like misplays and very questionable grabs their first couple matches, but he looked like he really, really found his rhythm on that last match and was crushing Color Hex and Boston. So looking at maps, it's Ilios, Kings Row, Volskaya, and then Route 66. So we'll see on Ilios if like we see Arissa's on well. We know Chengdu of course likes to play lots of wrecking ball. That's kind of their thing. So that'll serve them decently well on Ilios. But then the other ones, I mean, first point Volskaya, they're like triple/quad DPS can be good, but other than that, I think they're gonna get rolled hard. I'm gonna say this is a 4-0. I haven't predicted so many 4-0s this season, but I think this is one of them. I think Toronto is going to really take this match seriously, because they're in kind of the same boat as Philly. They if they have the good finish to these last 2 weeks, they're in the stage playoffs. So they're going to be highly motivated. I don't think they'll try to play to Chengdu's level. I don't think they'll swap onto a wrecking ball, at least on the very, very grand majority of points. I think they're just going to exclusively run goats, which is what I would do against them. Just run goats and press W and walk into them and take the points and win. Pretty easy. I don't mean to make it sound simpler than it is, but when you're playing against those kind of comps, it's kind of what you do. Um, so we got 3 more matches for Friday. It is a great one to start off with. Paris Eternal, Vancouver Titans. So 2 of the upper teams. Paris is weird because they've only played 3 times. They're sitting at 2-1. Vancouver is sitting at 4-0. The maps they will be playing on are Ilios, Numbani, Horizon Lunar Colony, and then Rialto. So Paris got rolled pretty hard by Atlanta their last match. It was very impressive from Atlanta, but I think it kind of proved that Paris is not the best goats team. Like if they're gonna get run by Atlanta, we'll see how they do against Vancouver. And like New York, I think would kind of have their way with them as well. But anyway, what is going to be the result of this one? I like Vancouver in this one. I don't think it'll be super close. This will be a good test of Paris because, like I said, they came in the league. They won their first two matches. They beat two good teams, and the Gladiators. Well, they're not a great team right now, but they also beat the defending champs in London. So they got a lot of hype around them. They had a lot of confidence. Then they get smacked by Atlanta. So how are they? How do they respond to that? I think it's going to be a good test of the makeup of this team. That's pretty much going to be the X factor. One thing Atlanta did a lot was take advantage of Cruz on Lucio, trying to get aggressive and boot people out of position. And a lot of times they would take advantage of that and collapse on him. So we'll see if Vancouver does something similar. Vancouver is an extremely aggressive team. Bumper is very aggro on the Reinhardt, and the team plays around that very well. So how will Paris match this aggression? They're a pretty aggressive team themselves, I would say, but not on the level of Vancouver. So I see this one being a 3-1. I think it'll be pretty similar to the Vancouver San Francisco match, where there's maps that are close. It won't be a blowout, but we will see that the Titans just kind of outclass the Eternal, even at Eternal's own game, Goats. Like I said, Vancouver, to me, Vancouver looks like the best team right now in the league. You could also make the argument for New York, but New York is less of an aggressive team. They're more of a passive team. They always have been. And I think that really good aggressive goats teams will beat really good conservative goats teams. That's just kind of the nature of the composition. I would love to see Vancouver New York match. Hopefully we get it in like the stage playoffs. But anyway, for this matchup, I like Vancouver taking it 3-1 with Paris maybe snagging Numbani or Lunar Colony. The second match of Friday is going to be the New York Excel playing their final match against San Fran Shock, who are sitting at 3-2. So this is probably the matchup of the week. Definitely of the first 2 days. Valiant Fusion could be good. Rain Gladiators could be good. Eternal Titans should be good. But this is going to be... Oof, this should be great. San Fran, they did lose a couple matches pretty early on. They've looked a lot better recently. Super and Sinatra have been more playing, not as much playing with the team, but the team's been playing to their strengths a little bit more. Again, like I said, New York is a pretty passive team, especially for goats. And Shock is a pretty aggressive team. So we'll see. Map 1 is Busan, then they go to Numbani, Volskaya, and Dorado. So generally Smurf was playing on control maps, and then Super was coming in for the rest. Last time out, they had Super actually playing right away, and they looked a little bit better for that. But even though San Fran has looked much improved, I still don't like them in this matchup. I think New York will finish out this stage a perfect 7-0 and get to kick up their heels before the last week and a half before the stage playoffs, because it's their only match. They'll have a lot of time prepared strictly for San Fran, and while San Fran will give them a nice little run, I think San Fran will take Numbani and tie it up at 1-1 after New York wins the first one, and then New York will close out maps 3 and 4 to take it 3-1. But we'll see. I think a lot of it's going to depend on what is New York going to do about Sinatra. Sinatra, he's always very high charge. He's also he generally uses high ground a lot. He plays away from his team a little bit because they're usually on low ground, and then he's putting in damage from up high. So we'll see if New York has any strategies to punish that. Vancouver had a couple of things that they did to really punish him, and we'll also see if X Factor can Sinatra not get his grabs eaten. He's really good at generating alt charge and maintaining a high level of energy, but his grabs has not been good. They've been getting eaten all over the place. So can he can he like cut those probably in half? I think if he gets more than like 2, 3 grabs eaten, I just don't see them standing a chance against New York. They're so surgical and they're so precise in how they play. Um, Silly mistakes like that, like coming out from mainly Sinatra and Super, just will not result in a shock win. Um, so, like I said, New York taking it 3-1, but it should be a great matchup. Two of the upper tier teams, and then I thought that this was like a misprint at first. It's Dallas Fuel and Shanghai Dragons. They played last week, and they're playing again tomorrow. So I don't know. The scheduling is weird. I understand that like now there's only 7 games per stage, so it's not nearly as clear cut as it was last year, and now there's 20 teams. But it's just weird. Like I said, Paris has only played 3 games. Everyone else has played at least 4. A lot of them have played 5. Um, so to have 2 teams when you have 20 of them, to have a couple of people play each other twice in one stage, I think that's kind of poor scheduling. But anyway, the match itself, it saw Dallas coming out on top 3-2 last time. We saw the probably the worst C9 of all time by Shanghai. Um, I saw that and almost threw up my dinner. The maps they're going to be on are Nepal, Hollywood, Temple of Anubis, and then Route 66. So a bit different from their last matchup. So that will at least be different. But yeah, the 2 teams that have played each other just a week ago. I picked Shanghai to win last time out. It obviously didn't quite come true, but I'm gonna pick Shanghai again. Dallas barely won that match, and it took a it took a C9 and some other crazy occurrences. I think that Shanghai will be a little bit better prepared this time. Generally in sports, when one team beats another team and it's close and they're teams of pretty similar skill, I generally like the team that was closely lost the last time out. I like them to bounce back, if that makes sense. So that's the main reason I'm going with Shanghai here. Like I said, I rank these teams 10 and 11 in my power ranking, so I think they're very close. Um, but on a new map pool, Dallas will probably take map 1, but I could see Shanghai sweeping out from there. Maps like 2, 3, 4 could end up being extremely close, but Shanghai won maps 2 and 3 last time out. And I think that they will do so again, and then they will not choke on the map 4. They won't C9. They'll get it done. It'll be very close. Dallas will perform well, but in the end, Shanghai will be a little bit too much for them. But it is very interesting. If they go to 5 games, if they go to 5, Dallas will probably win. I mean, last time on Ilios and on Nepal, Dallas 2-0'd Shanghai. So don't be shocked if we see Dallas taking a win if they go to 5. But I don't think it'll get there. I think Shanghai takes maps 2, 3, and 4, and takes a 3-1 victory to get their 3rd win of the season. So, let me know what you think about those predictions. If you have any crazy upsets that you're thinking, like you think Chengdu will beat Toronto, or you think that one of the LA teams will finally get their heads out of their ass and win, I'm curious to see what you think about that. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed. Good luck to your teams playing, and I will see you in the next video going over the matches Saturday and Sunday. Have a great couple days, and then I'll see you in the next one.